6, the comparison doc.
Yeah, make sure there's trackings in right.
Most of it says mince pig, mince pig, mince pig.
New
Oh, the
proposed.
pink highlights, yeah, that's right. On the comparison doc,
That's what I'm looking at.
the
Animal
tracking,
shelter.
yeah, that shows the changes.
Oh, well,
Like, it shows in blue on my paper copy.
Not showing anything.
Yeah, it won't print tracking unless you specifically tell it to. But track changes, show markup.
Okay.
Hopefully they show in red.
Well, what are the blue crossed out? That's new.
That's the problem. I should fix that.
Well, I'm trying to
If
figure.
you wouldn't print it out.
I figured it out.
No, I just was so upset. Okay, good.
It's not difficult.
Good
Yeah,
work.
you figured it out.
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to welcome you to the committee meeting to discuss the revisions to animal control. I'll start by asking for a motion to approve the minutes from our April 24th meeting.
Motion to approve?
Second, all those in favor raise your right hand. Excellent. Oh, we didn't do introductions, I'm sorry. My name is Brendan, I'm the city councilman from District 6,
Sandra Clear, District 2.
and we believe Councilwoman Ortiz will be joining us shortly. So the next item on the agenda is to continue our discussion about including municipal pigs in the Topeka Municipal Code, and we've invited a couple of veterinarians to come and try to explain a little bit more to us about the healthcare requirements of these animals. We've been throwing a lot of terms like rabies and pseudo-rabies around, and we're trying to get a better feel for what it actually takes to keep these animals healthy correctly. And so with that, I'll turn it over to you gentlemen. If you could just give us a quick overview of what we're looking for and what we need to be cognizant of as we work through this ordinance.
I'm passing this on to
Oh,
Mark.
and I'm sorry, I have to have you come up to the mic so the folks in TV land can hear. I do want to thank you all for taking time out of your schedules to come and give us a hand with this.
I guess you can hear me. So kind of looked over what Lisa had sent me the other day. I've also been in contact with the state of Kansas livestock veterinarian, the one that kind of oversees the livestock jurisdiction. I'm a little confused on all the aspects of the pseudo-rabies part. I don't know if there's a little confusion. The pseudo-rabies is not rabies. The pseudo-rabies is a herpes-type virus, and it's not related to the people herpes, but it is an abortive-type disease and confinement-type operation. Pseudo-rabies has also been eradicated from the state, meaning it's been tested for, and the animals that have been tested positive have been removed. That was eradicated in the late 90s. There has not been any reported cases of pseudo-rabies in the state since 1999.
Wow. So nearly 20 years.
20 years. State of Kansas is classified as a pseudo-rabies-free state. The only place in Kansas that have issues with pseudo-rabies is in the feral swine population. These potbelly pigs in the city aren't going to come in contact with the feral swine, so it's not really even a concern. And I was looking through regulations from other cities and I didn't understand. It looked like some of them were kind of requesting that pseudo-rabies be tested for every year in order for them to get the permit. I wouldn't recommend it.
Okay.
Getting blood from a pig's not the easiest thing to do. It's very stressful on them. According to the state veterinarian, he wouldn't recommend it.
Okay.
Basically, if you're gonna require a pseudo-rabies test when they come in for their initial permit, because it kind of sounded like you were gonna kind of have them required to get permits for them, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Maybe a negative test at the initial permit requirement, then after that, it's not a concern, because they're not gonna be exposed to it. There is a vaccine available for pseudo-rabies, but that's under the control of the state veterinarian to be released upon an outbreak.
So you
It's
can't
not-
even really vaccinate them?
It's not readily available to
Okay.
us, and they're not gonna give it to us, because they said they will not recommend it unless
Mhm.
there's an outbreak
Okay,
on that. So the pseudorabies vaccine is basically out
Mhm.
unless the state veterinarian comes in to do it.
well, and that's one of our concerns, because in the current draft of the ordinance, we're requiring people to have a pseudo-rabies vaccine, and if it's
Correct.
not available, then that's gonna be kinda hard to
Yeah.
ask people to do.
Now, like I say, on that, I wouldn't even be concerned about the pseudorabies. It's not even gonna be something they're gonna be exposed to. We did talk about, there are some states in the United States that still have problems with the pseudorabies.
Mhm.
And that's where having them tested prior to the first permit issue
Mhm.
would eliminate that. Because you kind of get into state regulations as well, because any animal that comes in from
Mhm.
out of state is supposed to come in with a health certificate,
Mhm.
being inspected and all the required tests done that the state has on their agenda as far as that animal coming in. So all that
Mhm.
should be taken care of before it comes into the state.
So if I move to a new community with my potbelly pig, I would need to reach out to the state and notify them that I'm transporting that
In all
pig in?
reality, yes.
Okay,
But in-state travel is
Mhm.
not regulated as much as the cross-state lines.
okay,
Now, like if you put in the ordinance that in order for the potbelly pig to come into Shawnee County or into the city of Topeka, you require a health certificate, and then yes, they would
Mhm.
have to have all that.
so would somebody just go to a vet that works with
Correct.
farm animals, and they could work through that process of getting that prepared, and then we could deliver it to the city essentially?
Correct.
Okay,
Now, rabies is the same rabies that can be contracted by the dogs, cats,
Mhm.
people. That's a little bit more of a concern. Likelihood of them being exposed is not very high, but you can vaccinate them against rabies.
okay,
There's not a licensed rabies vaccine for the pigs, but there are some that you can use off-label, and it's completely legal
Mhm.
and acceptable for rabies.
so you'd recommend no pseudo-rabies vaccine just because it's unrealistic, but have them tested for it when they come into the city for their initial application, and then just a standard rabies vaccination? What other health concerns should we worry about?
There's not a whole lot.
Okay.
There's other vaccines available for the swine, but a lot of that's centered around where you're talking the larger groups where they're all housed together.
And we're limiting these to 2, and I understand most of these animals don't go out of people's homes, and if then, it's just to a backyard.
And
So-
that could be up to the individuals. If they wanted to
Mhm.
get them vaccinated for other things, I wouldn't have a problem with it. I wouldn't make it a requirement. The main thing would be the rabies.
Okay. Yes, ma'am?
I'm sorry, I didn't get your name.
Dr. Kester, Kester.
Kester. Okay, just for example, they come in, they get this test, and they're positive.
Then
Then what are they gonna do?
Then the state veterinarian steps in and takes care of the issue, because
I
that's a
mean, they
reportable-
contact them, we contact them?
They will probably go confiscate the pig, because
Okay.
it is an eradicated
Mhm.
reportable disease, yes.
Okay, and then where can they get, how many veterinarians are there in the county that actually can give vaccines, rabies shots to a potbelly pig? Most of them?
About any veterinarian can.
Okay,
Yeah, it doesn't have to be a large animal, but.
okay.
Yeah, but the large animal vet is the easy, because they're used to working with these animals, a larger variety already, so that would be the easy place to recommend to somebody if they call, where do I go? Any large animal vet generally could handle it, and what we would hope is that as we work this out, some of the vets inside the city would be willing to bring that on as well. So, but if we're talking about what's the availability today, any large animal clinic should be able to take care of this as it sits now, so.
In the paperwork you sent me too, there are some kind of questions on catching these little critters if they're out running around. Not an easy process. there's kind of a little conflicting information about sedatives in the pigs. If you're in a controlled, stress-free environment, the sedatives will work on the pigs. If they're out running, you're chasing them, you're trying to catch them, and they're stressed, it will kill them. So that's gonna be a totally different scenario when that arises. So,
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you in Shawnee County? Are you in Topeka?
I just moved from Shawnee County to Jackson County.
How many pigs have you ever heard of being out and then someone had to catch?
I've got two.
Potbelly pigs,
I've
not,
got two of them in my house that came from the city of Topeka that I've had for 2 years.
so,
Because nobody claimed them and I can't get rid of them.
because you don't want to, or because you
Well,
can't?
I would like to, but my daughter became attached to
Oh,
them.
I thought there was something there. So,
Yeah.
2 in how many years?
Well, actually, that's just the two that people haven't claimed or
Okay.
the rescue groups have not taken. But
How many
there's-
do you know of?
I don't know, there's probably been 8 to 10.
In how many years?
I've been doing this since 2002.
Okay.
So a fairly low
So
number.
it's rare,
Yeah, okay.
yeah.
Well, and what we're trying to establish is how big a problem is this really? You know, these animals are not for everyone, so legalizing this, we don't expect there to be a large influx of pigs because the people that want them probably already have them. And the folks that, I mean, they're not dogs, so it's not like you can just go out and treat them the same. So, any questions, Councilwoman Ortiz?
No, I'm just thinking, the ones that have gotten out, the 11, the number, is that what's been reported? What about those?
That's what animal control has
That's
contacted me about.
but what's been
yes.
reported, we don't know of the number that has been unreported as well. I think, my concern is if animal control, and I don't know if you've answered this, if you were to confiscate them, where would they go? Where would we keep them?
To Dr. Kester. That's where we'd transport him, and he would keep him for about 3 days, and if nobody claimed him, then he could keep him for good.
We have an existing relationship and contract
Yes.
set up to handle that. So if there is an issue,
Yes.
then we've already got a process in place to take care of that. So,
Yes.
So you would keep all these pigs if you got them?
Well, it'd probably end up being, if it becomes a problem, it would probably end up like the shelter. If they're not claimed or taken by a rescue group or somebody wants them, then they'll probably be euthanized. Because
Well, and
me
not-
keeping them
mhm,
after the 3 days is all out of my pocket.
mhm.
And Dr. Kester, if I may, what would you do if you got one with rabies, or if you got one with that?
If they're
Disease.
suspected, then they would be euthanized and tested, according to the state protocol.
I mean, it's the same issue as if a dog goes to the pound with rabies. You know, they have to test them and
I know
ascertain
that.
whether or not
I
to
know
keep.
that. I'm
So-
just asking.
No, and
I'm
I
just-
appreciate
I'm
it, you know.
just asking.
But because we need to look at that. I mean.
We sure do.
Absolutely, you know,
I'm just
this is great
asking.
information about, you know, getting them tested for that and to know that the vaccines are not really available. Our whole goal is to develop a plan and process that allows this to work safely. And if we can't do it, then, you know, these are the questions that we need to go over and make sure we can do this correctly if we do. So, any other questions?
Because I'm not really sold. I know a lot of my constituents,
Mhm.
they don't want these pigs. I mean, you know, so I'm not really sold. That's why I have the right to ask, Mr.
Absolutely, no,
I don't need
I
you to
appreciate
sell
you
me.
do.
I don't need you to sell me.
So-
I just, those are some of the questions that I've been asked.
Mhm.
So, and how long is our contract with you?
I think it's on a, well, I think we need to get a current one. I think the one we had is expired. I think it's every 2 years.
So we
Right,
go, we go 2 years, every 2 years, and we renew it, or we don't renew it? Is that what we do?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
But you no
Councilwoman
longer
Claire.
live here?
No, I moved from Shawnee County up to Jackson County. I also contract with Shawnee County and do their large animal stuff. When I moved, we had that discussion with both Shawnee County animal control and with Topeka PD, and they both decided, since I was familiar with everything, that they would go ahead and keep me on the contract, even though I'm not in Shawnee County.
I see. Okay.
Other questions?
So if we get a pig in the middle of the night, you're coming to get it?
We would work something out, yes.
So I don't have any more questions for him. I have some
Okay.
on the book.
Okay.
Book.
Any other questions for him? Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Before we move into the book, I wanted to show you all this. Brendan Wiley put together a quick 2-page PowerPoint that basically gives you a visual comparison of the animals that we're discussing. On the second page, there is some great pictures of pigs and how they compare to other animals that are similar size. I would note, in a number of the pictures, the pigs are actually larger than what our ordinance would permit. We cap out at 120 in several of these, or 140, 130, that sort of thing. So it's great information to give you basically a general idea what these animals look like in comparison to other ones. They're quite small comparatively. So just wanted to submit that so you all would have a chance to take a look at it. And with that, we can move on to looking over the ordinance. Lisa, do you want to give us a brief overview of any changes since the last time we met?
Do you all need the vets for anything else, or would you like them to stay in case there's any other questions, or?
Are there any other questions?
Sorry, I'm not gonna tell. I'm
Yeah.
a small animal guy.
Well,
You're of
let me
course
ask
welcome to
this.
stay if you want to stay.
Is this something you'd be interested in seeing in your clinic, or would you be willing to see in your clinic?
Well, I mean, depending on what situations are, I suppose
Mhm.
that can be worked out. I mean, if
Well,
there are days
he
when
needs to go to the.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have to have you go to the mic for the TV land people. Yeah, my apologies.
See what I get for opening the mouth, so. Sorry, so I'm
Yeah.
Dr. Brian Stancliffe. I am the small animal veterinarian for the city of Topeka. I mean, our problem is housing. I mean, we don't really have a facility to house pigs, but I'm sure there's ways if, depending on the size, if something's caught in the middle of the night. I mean, right now, animal control has a key and can get into our building to bring in animals as it is now. And I mean, I'm sure if it's a little pig or whatnot, that they can judge whether it would fit in our kennels. We can house it overnight until it
Okay.
ends a bit. I mean, we're willing to work and help as much as we can.
Okay.
But my pig knowledge is not much. It's been 20 years since I was in vet school, and I haven't touched a pig since, so I just don't know much about it. But that can all change, and we can help out however we can.
Okay. Yeah, great.
So I'll have to learn how to draw blood on a pig if we're doing some pseudo-rabies, but it can't be too hard, so.
I do have a question for Dr.
Sure.
Kessler.
Yeah.
Kessler.
Sorry.
Does that help
Yep.
at all? or-
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, very much.
So when I was doing my research, I noticed the average weight was like 100 to 250. We have it in here at 150, and I was reading that it's really dangerous for the pig to not feed them enough. And so what's the average, what do you think's a good healthy weight?
The potbelly pigs are really prone to being overweight. That's where you get above that 150 pounds. So it's gonna be, maintaining that weight below there. They'd be healthier if they're below 150 pounds.
Really?
The two that I got up there, like I say, I've had them for 2 years. They were pretty much full grown. They're probably around 100 to 110 pounds.
Okay. So 150 is okay, we're not
I
gonna,
would think so.
okay.
Because if they get above that, then you're gonna have other health issues. I've got some that I deal with that they've allowed to get over that 150 pounds, they can't walk.
Oh, that's a problem.
Yeah,
All right, thank you.
okay.
Right.
And I have another question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
On the vaccines, are they every 2 years, 3 years like a dog, or on the rabies, or?
Excellent question.
That, I would have to do a little bit more research on. Most of the farm animals, when we get into doing rabies, it's a yearly shot. I would have to check into that on the potbelly pigs. Cattle, horses, sheep, goats, all the other large animal species, it's yearly. There's nothing labeled for over a year on the vaccine.
Okay. Is that something where we could just reference best practices
Yeah.
for that type of animal in the code, and then just let a veterinarian make that call?
Right.
Okay.
Are there other shots besides rabies that they would need?
That's where we're kind of talking about. Most of them are designed for your bigger pig operations that feed and house a lot of them, and they're in close confinement. The one or two I wouldn't consider, would probably never be exposed to the issues that the other vaccines cover. There's erythrosyphilis, which is what they call ride nose. It's a bacteria that gets in and the nose goes crooked. That's mainly a confinement type operation issue, you know, where there's large numbers.
Yes, ma'am.
I do have one more. We also have in here, the pig has been neutered or spayed upon reaching maturity. What is maturity age in a pig?
Most everybody that does get them fixed is usually after, I would probably say the same as dog, cat, 6 months.
Okay. Thank you.
One last question for you. This is sort of a curveball. So in the code, we're allowing other types of livestock, essentially. All right, is there anything, do you have to specifically state diseases for each type of animal, or are there some general diseases like rabies that we need to worry about for other miniature versions of animals that might be permissible within the city?
The rabies are gonna be the same across, the rabies is, that same rabies will affect any species.
Okay.
That's the same across the board. Each species of animal has some different diseases, that you gotta be concerned about. Again, what you get in and recommend is kinda, what is there gonna be their exposure? And like I say, a lot of that's still dealing with your larger numbers being together.
So this is, again, where we should rely on the expertise of the supervising veterinarian, essentially,
Correct.
to rely on them to keep the animals healthy.
Correct.
So, okay, excellent. Any other questions? Cool. Well, thank you guys very much for coming. We appreciate all your time. Have a wonderful Monday afternoon.
Yes, just give them to the lobby officer. Yeah, yeah. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, guys. So, to the leases, given some of this new information that we've just heard today, do we need to make any changes to the ordinance structure to sort of reorganize some of that?
Councilmember Jensen, I think so, most particularly with the proposed new 6.45010. But I think they should be fairly minor adjustments.
Okay.
And I wrote a lot of notes here, so I think
Okay.
we can accurately reflect what's been suggested by the veterinarian.
And then
In here.
do we need to, how would we change that to be more inclusive to rabies for all animals? You know, because we still, as far as I understand, we're still technically going to allow things like goats and that sort of thing as well.
This only addresses miniature pigs, but as we've talked about before, if you get into the body of the ordinance, it
Yeah.
lists allowable animals, and it does say domestic hoof stock. That's one of the things that is addressed in the second phase, I think, but if we want to try to figure out some way to address that in this first phase, we can try to do that.
Currently, livestock doesn't have to have a permit, and that's why they don't have to have a rabies
Well,
vaccination
and so
to show.
this goes back to the discussion we've had before as to, you know, pigs are technically livestock.
Yes.
Is it better to just redo livestock in general and then push the whole thing up at once, as opposed to trying to do it in two phases? Because we'll have to go back and move a bunch of this stuff around essentially to fit with that. So,
Yes, this first phase, what I've done is just basically exempted miniature pigs from the definition of swine in the livestock section, and then did a whole new chapter for miniature pigs.
okay,
And it basically is this one new section, which is the 010, but all of the other sections on pages 34, 35, 36, and 37 are pulled from the dog and the cat chapters, as far
Okay.
as permits required, when, the fees, all that type of thing.
yes, ma'am.
Is it a problem that they don't have permits? Is it an issue they don't have?
And livestock, no, ma'am.
Okay, is it an issue
Never
they
has
don't have
been.
any
Never been,
Shot. No, I didn't-
never been an issue.
I didn't think so. I don't know if I'd mess with that.
Well, and that's why I bring it up. I mean, to some degree, if there is no problem there, do we need to go down that path? However, at the same time, we're trying to give you all the tools to do what you need to in the field.
I think that's open, you talk about trying to get people move here and stuff, that would be a big block.
Well, I never did get a list of what the problem was in the field,
With the livestock or the pigs, or all?
any and all.
Yeah, we don't have very many problems with livestock. There's not too many here in the city. Most of them are in the county.
But on the first meeting, I asked for a list of things, and I never received that.
You-
I even
think you
told
sent a
your
memo, didn't you?
supervisor.
I thought I did, but maybe it didn't reach. Sorry about that. I thought I sent one, maybe it didn't reach you. Sorry.
I don't think I got it, but if you did send it, can you resend it?
Sure. Okay.
Can I ask questions? on
Yes,
that?
yeah, please, that's,
Okay, so I'm gonna ask a question. I went through all of it, so it may be, it's gonna be out of order. I could've just went through the clean, but I've got them everywhere. On page 11, when it says, about the state charge about animals fighting, what does the city do if you come upon that now? If this is a state charge? It's 11 when it says, comment,
We're back in phase 2?
page 11 under comparison.
Okay, we're in
I
phase 2.
was-
We're
It's
back
on the wrong
in phase
page here.
1. Okay.
would it be easier for you guys to just talk about the pigs first and then go talk about the rest of the changes to the ordinance?
I'm prepared for whatever
Yeah,
you'd like.
whichever you would like to do. I
Okay,
think
I mean,
that,
I'm fine with just addressing everyone's questions and getting through them, and then we can
I
ferret
think
out
the
from there what
pig
we
part,
want.
the phase 1 part, especially given what the veterinarians were able to share with us, I think we've kind of really got a good idea as to the tweaks that we need to make.
I don't need them to read it to me.
So I think we're okay there,
Okay.
but if you want to go to the phase 2 part, in the memo, the cover memo that's right before the phase 2 tab, or right after the phase 2 tab, it talks about, kind of lists, it provides a little index at the bottom of the June 8th memo as to some of the suggestions or requests from animal control. I just bullet pointed them out. So one of those is, I believe, about deleting the animal fighting piece, and you might want to talk about that, because I know that that's what you had
Deleting
suggested.
animal fighting, we never enforced that ordinance with the city because it's a state charge. Police officers would have to get involved in that and do all their reports, and it's an actual state charge for dog fighting. And also, that also indicated at the bottom that the ordinance didn't apply to dogs. Did you see that?
So it's
So
sort of
I
redundant
wasn't even
anyway.
for sure why it was even there.
Yeah, it wouldn't make sense if there's another law.
Well,
but-
who
Yeah.
are they gonna call out? Are they gonna call animal control out? Are they gonna call the police?
It would be, it would be both of us, actually. We would help them work the call
So
since
why
we're
would it
familiar
not
with
be in
dogs.
here then?
Well, we don't need to have the same ordinance twice. If it's a state
Right.
law, it doesn't need to
Yeah.
be in the municipal code because they're gonna use the state charge
Right.
anyway.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's exactly
So
right.
does that mean then the TPD just writes the ticket then, basically? If there's a citation and they send it over to state court? to
Right, it
district
wouldn't be a
court?
citation, it would actually be a report with that state charge on it.
And it doesn't
Sent
come
up
to
to the
muni
DA's
court.
office,
It
right.
goes to
There
the
would not be a city ticket.
District court.
Yeah.
Right.
But I just wonder, this is, cruelty to animals. What if, I didn't know that was a state. I mean, I thought it was city. What if it's not in there? I don't know. I'd just like to cover it whether it's in there or not. If I was that type of person, I'd go, oh, well, it's not in there. I mean,
Yes, Councilwoman Claire, it's okay if it's in there, it's really not bothering anything. But we just don't use it because we go with state
I
charges
mean, I
with the
see
police
the,
officer.
I don't know.
Well, and we could just say, we could say something about cruelty to animals pursuant to current state law.
Yeah, that would be a
And
good
so that we're just reinforcing that
That would
we,
be a
as the
good-
community, firmly stand
Right.
against cruelty to animals in any capacity, and then, cite the strongest law we can to,
That would be a good idea. I just don't want to leave it out.
Or, Councilmember Claire, I was thinking then if you go out on all the calls with TPD on these kind of calls, It's in there, it's not, they're gonna issue the ticket, the TPD, and they're gonna go over to district court and not muni court. It probably doesn't hurt, it's just that you're not gonna be able to issue a citation in municipal court.
It says it doesn't include dogs, though.
But
That's
it
what I
would
don't
be-
understand, is why this
Yeah.
doesn't
A
include
pit bull
dogs
fight
when it
could
should
go
include
on.
dogs. Shall we say to include dogs?
Or just leave that piece out.
But it says any animal.
Yeah, you just have to take that last part out.
And then lower down, it exempts them,
Subsection C would have to
Yeah.
be deleted.
which I'm not opposed to
Right.
doing. Then we've
Yeah.
got our stance publicly in an ordinance. Because I
Right.
do agree, I mean, that's a serious issue, and we've
Right.
addressed that.
And then if
There's
they know the
concerns about
process
that.
and they know
Right.
the police officers write the citation or whatever, you know, to district court, I think that's fine. I think we could do that, leave it in.
Do we need a motion to make those changes?
You just want to wait till we're all done? Or
We
you
could-
want to make
yeah.
it one at a time?
No, we could just do a blanket motion to change everything. I'm fine with that, as long as you're okay.
Okay, so I've
So,
got that.
okay.
Well, my next question was, you suggested deleting then on the, turn the page to 13, the mistreatment of young fowl, rabbits and animals. Why would you want to take that out?
Well, A and B to me is conflicting. It should be unlawful for any person to possess these animals, but chicks, baby chicks, and rabbits, people can possess those in the city, and the ordinance was confusing to me.
Well, then, can we fix it instead of delete it? I mean, can we fix that it's not confusing? Because
Well,
once
if-
again-
Yeah, if you're cruel to an animal, though, that would always fall under the cruelty to animals section for all animals.
Okay, so
Yes,
we
ma'am.
don't have to list out each one?
Yes, right.
Okay, okay, I understand that, got that. Next, on page 15. Oh, it said, the functions currently handled by ACO, the deceased animals,
Yes.
but suggested that perhaps Shawnee County Refuge could perform this task, and if so, it would require it. What's the process now, and why would you change it?
Well, the process now is we are charged with picking up roadkill, if you will.
Right.
Raccoons and possums deceased in the roadway, and there, are several of them.
In Shawnee County?
No, well, in the city of
Just the
Topeka.
city?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
And then when we do that, that doesn't enable us to get to other calls in a timely manner. And number two, when we pick them up and we bag them, we put them in the back, and we respond to a cruelty investigation or a dangerous animal investigation, it takes us a while to work that call. And we have that deceased animal in the back, and it smells really bad. And I've had people come up to my truck when I was, trying to take information from them, and they would complain about the smell of my truck. And these were not domesticated animals. These were dead possums and raccoons that had been there for a while. And so that's why I made the recommendation for that.
and
Do they do
How
that in the
many-
county
how-
now?
I'm sorry?
Do they handle that for the county now?
This,
I think he means sanitation
Yeah.
services.
San-
Do they handle that for the county?
So do they already have a process in place to handle that, or is this something
no,
the county would have to?
this is something new.
Okay.
We would have, yeah.
Have we talked to the county to see if they're willing to take on that
Nope.
role?
Nope, we'd have to negotiate a contract with them, I think.
Oh, I
how
see.
many are you
Okay.
talking about? How many animals?
Oh, I would say
week?
at least 2 or 3 a day.
Oh.
Because we're talking about dead squirrels too, and they're all over
Ah,
the city. We pick up dead squirrel, anything dead, deceased, even
Yeah,
a
that
mouse,
sounds
we would
very
go pick up if they
time-consuming.
wanted us to. If
And how many
people did-
officers are there?
There's 5 now, including me. We just hired another one.
So really, yeah. Yeah, to approve that, I'd need more information, like, what's everybody else doing? If one person picked up, say, from 8 to 10, all the dead animals, I guess, I need more statistical information, and then what does the county say, and,
well, so basically what you're asking for in this ordinance is essentially to contract this particular aspect out to whoever it may be.
Yes, for a roadkill only, we would pick up domesticated still, though, cats and dogs.
Yeah,
so-
because you need to check for animal cruelty.
Well, no, it's more to check for the owner. We want to make sure the owner knows their pet's deceased so we can take it home to them.
I see,
So
okay.
we would want to
Yeah, that's
continue
true,
to
because
identify
most
them.
of the time, they'll want
Uh-huh.
to bury them in some fashion.
Yes.
Okay.
So can we get more information on that? Like, actually, how much time it takes someone per day, how many per day? What's
Certainly.
the savings, what's it cost us?
Because we have a contract with Waste Management, and that's where we take them. But we would still have to have that contract because we'd pick up,
Right.
you know, deceased
right.
domestic, and we would still drop them off out there if we didn't take them home to the owner. So we'd still have to have that contract.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
When you have a contract with Waste Management, is that Shawnee County? Or what's Waste Management?
It would be Shawnee
Shawnee
County,
County?
Waste
Okay.
Management, yes.
So that's something that would be added to an existing contract, though, if they did that? Okay.
Yes, yes, for Shawnee County Refuge, you mean?
Yeah, we didn't
Yes.
want to talk to them unless that was something you all even
Yeah,
were
yeah.
interested in
Well, yeah, I
entertaining.
mean, if you think it's something that you guys need because you're at a capacity limit, then yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I think if we could get some more information about it, I'm inclined to support it as I sit here, just because if it saves you all time.
Right, we would like to concentrate more on our cruelty investigations and our
Sure.
dangerous dog investigations as opposed to going around picking up dead roadkill.
Yeah,
So if Councilmember Claire was asking for like kind of data, then that would maybe be part of it if you asked Shawnee County.
yeah, well,
What would
because
it
we have,
cost you?
we'd have to find out if they're even
What
willing
would
to
be the
do
additional
that.
cost?
Otherwise, we're in the same boat we are
Yeah.
now. We're
Yeah,
sort of
that's
stuck with
good.
that because nobody else will do it, so,
That's
Right.
yeah.
That would be helpful.
Any
Oh,
any
yeah.
concerns with that, Councilwoman Ortiz?
I just don't know if it's I would like to know too, I just don't know if it's a scheduling thing.
Mhm.
I mean, I know the county, when you call them, they say, we don't do that. 'Cause I've had a lot of constituents call me and said, who picks those up?
It would be us right now,
Right,
and
I
we've
know
done
it's
that
you guys,
forever,
'cause,
yeah,
You know, the county tells them, we don't do that,
right.
so.
Hmm.
Okay, on page 19, when you talk about fees, why are you recommending 50 for a miniature pig?
Because that would show that the person really, really wanted it as a pet. And that would eliminate the folks that just thought it would be cool to have
They do
a
that with
pig.
dogs and cats, though, and
Well, that-
pigs and
Right.
or rabbits
Yeah.
and snakes.
We
That's
were-
my concern, is they're gonna
we-
get them anyway.
We were thinking a $50 fee would stop the people from just bringing them in here that just wanted them, just to be wanting them.
That's gonna
We'd
stop
want
them
to be
from
res-
registering them, it's not gonna stop them
Right.
from getting them.
That's right.
Maybe, yeah.
That's my
I
concern
thought
with
we'd have
that.
more responsible pig owners if we raised it
No,
to $50.
if a responsible pig owner now wouldn't have one because they're against the law. But we
Yeah.
still have them all over, so.
Yeah.
I wouldn't make it 50.
Yeah.
I would make it,
I do,
Same.
I appreciate your attempt there, because indeed, that's the goal, is to have responsible pet owners of any kind, but, you know, that's one of the barriers we have with the dog registrations, is it's, not a lot of people do that.
Register their animals? There's a lot of people that don't, yes.
So,
Okay.
Um,
Leave it 30?
How much?
weren't they 20? They're 20 for
What's the registration
unspayed?
for dogs?
20,
Oh,
20 to 8.
That's
Okay.
right, it is 20.
20 and 8.
Should that just be a blanket registration fee for any animal we require a registration for, as opposed to breed specific?
Well, a pig is supposed to be sterilized, and sterilized cats and dogs are $8 fee. So if we could do it $8 for a pig too, because they're supposed to be sterilized.
Right, yes.
So,
This, when you're looking at page 19 of the comparison doc, though, and you look at chapter 6.15, it talks about dogs, cats, and mini pigs.
Okay.
So it covers all of them. So whatever fee would be in here would apply
Okay.
to a dog, a cat, or a mini pig.
I'd
Okay.
just leave it as it
Yeah,
is.
I'd be inclined to that, because the point of having them registered is so we have some place to return them to if they get out and get caught, and we have some idea the number of, and what type of animals are in the city, as opposed to, I'm afraid that people that had them wouldn't pay $50 to register them, and then we wouldn't know what's out there, and we'd be in the same boat we are today.
They'd
We
get
could
'em
still
anyway and
have
not
pigs
pay.
all over the city, and no one has
that
registered them.
makes sense.
So leave 20 and, leave it the 20 and the 8.
I think so, yeah.
Okay, got
Well,
it.
and actually, truth be told, no one's gonna pay the $20 fee anyway, because if they follow the rules, they'll get them
They would get
spayed or
the
neutered, and
animals
they'll pay.
sprayed.
Yeah.
That's true.
So, and then that, is the intent to also make the registration available on the internet through that service we pay for?
Pet data.
Have we contacted Pet Data to see if they can handle?
No,
potbelly
not
pigs?
yet,
Okay.
to my knowledge. We can certainly do that, though.
I would assume they could. Is there a national outfit that's designed to do this sort of thing?
Pet data.
Ours is Pet Data out of Irving, Texas.
Right, but they do this for more than just Topeka, I would assume.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm sure they probably know about min pigs.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it'd be.
You're
worth it
talking
to-
about like a fillable form, right?
Well,
To
right. You know,
apply?
when you fill out, like when I register my dog Lola, I have to pick which breed I think she is. You know, she was on sale at the pound. I have to pick what breed I think she is and fill that out. I would assume we would need to do something similar for potbelly pigs.
I bet they could do that.
So, but yeah, it'd be worth it to just ask if Pet Data can handle that. Again, I would assume they would, but it's a good thing to double check on. So, okay, other,
On page 22, you talk about, if the owner fails to make an appearance to answer to charges, the court shall release the animal to Humane Society. Is that what we do now? What do we do now?
They typically keep the animal on
Who
hold
does?
until they can get the person to show. And
Yeah, I think Councilmember Clear, when they're talking about release the animal to the Humane Society, I think release all of the rights to the animal to the Humane Society, not just that's where it's kept.
Okay.
well, and we should, for the purpose of potbelly pigs, it should say rescue organization and not necessarily the Humane Society, because in Kansas,
good idea.
humane societies aren't really supposed to do that, but there are organizations out there.
Councilmember Jensen, it does say that for
Okay.
potbelly, this is under the dangerous
Yeah,
dogs
this is
section.
Okay, I apologize. I apologize.
So those do go to the Humane Society, and
Yes.
there's a kind of tug of war about the dogs who are dangerous and they never get claimed by the owner, or they keep filing continuances in court, so the time frame just keeps getting extended and extended for how long that dog stays there. But I've talked to both the municipal judge and the prosecutor's office, and they're like, just releasing a dog to, hey, okay, Humane Society, you own it now, and the rights of this owner are just terminated because it's been X number of
Yeah.
days. They said just because of the due process rights of the owner, that causes a whole lot of problems. And they strongly advised against doing
But
that.
this
Okay.
says fails to make an appearance. So if they actually have a court date, you're supposed to be there and they don't show up.
You do, but what then happens is that they issue a warrant for their arrest, and then they go through this whole process. So
Yeah.
it is like a little
Well, they need to show up.
hamster
Yeah.
kind of running around in a circle.
And I suppose some people argue they didn't know there was a court date. And
yeah, and if we continue
Yeah,
to hold
and
them,
they do.
it's $12 a day
Ah.
at the shelter. And
I don't think this is a
and
bad
that adds
thing.
up pretty quick.
I can talk further with them, but
Is that something where we could leave it up to the discretion of the judge and let them make a decision at the time as to what's in the best interest of everyone?
we talked about some alternatives with Judge Geyer. I believe there's one that might be palatable to him, and I'll talk to him again about that option and see what he thinks.
I mean, I don't want the dog sitting there 2 months while
I
we
know.
decide what the heck we're
Yeah.
gonna do.
Right. Because
Why
they
the
get
owner
cage
decides
crazy.
what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
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 And sometimes the owners do that on purpose.
Right.
too.
Yes, they
I mean,
do
they
that. They
do.
do. We
They
had
don't
one
want to lose their
recently.
dog,
Right.
but
So I don't know. I'm not,
I'll talk with them again about that.
okay, and then we go over to, where am I at now? The clean copy. Clean. In the, where it says humane shelter, oh, there's no page numbers. Okay,
know,
online,
this is my bad.
129.
Okay.
I think we need to take out means Helping Hand Humane Society in the city. Why not just any animal shelter contracted with the city of Topeka that is licensed by the state of Kansas? Why are we putting Helping Hands Society in there?
Well, that's where we take our animals right now, but I see what you're saying. If they were ever to leave
Right.
or vacate,
Right.
then we would have this language in there, and then we would have to revise it. So we could put that in.
I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Yeah, if that makes
Yes.
sense to me.
And then kennel, didn't you delete the kennel stuff? So wouldn't we delete the word kennel? Or is that in another spot?
We did delete that, Councilmember Clear, but is there any reason you might need a reference to kennel in there for some
Not
other
if it
reason?
pertains to breeding. Not if it pertains to breeding.
So nothing else, like we don't use it for,
sign.
I didn't see it anywhere
A good
else. in
shelter.
there.
We wouldn't
or
need
anything like
S,
that, right?
we wouldn't need 132S in there because it
okay,
has to do with breeding.
then we can take it out if you don't need it.
Yep.
All right, and then, almost done. Oh, on line 391. Laying an equine down for medical or identification, does that mean killing? Does that mean laying it down? In 391?
What section is that in?
Oh,
That's in cruelty to animals
Right.
section.
So what is, it shall not apply to. So what does this mean?
It means it's not cruel to lay him down.
Lay him down or kill him?
no, I think they just mean like lay them over
I think
on their
that must
sides,
mean lay
yeah.
down.
Yeah,
For medical or identification purposes, yeah.
because typically you don't see a horse lying
Laying
down.
I see
down.
I see what you're saying.
Okay. I was just making
Yeah,
sure.
laying down versus putting down.
No, it
Yeah,
wasn't.
Laying
yeah.
it-
No,
Yeah,
no,
there's
I
other
agree.
terms for terminating a life,
Mm-hmm.
dispatch or killing. We actually
They
use the
don't
word
like to be
killing.
laid down then, I guess.
No.
I like
You
to
know,
lay
'cause you
down.
go, oh, have him laid down, huh?
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
And on page, or on line 596, and I register all my dogs, all 4 of them. And it's $2 late fee. I think that should be higher. Or do you think that's just gonna make people not,
I think make people stop.
do they pay the $2?
If they're forced to, if they come in and re-register their dog, they have to. If they're forced to, they do.
And somewhere back here, it's $1 to get a copy of their,
Tag,
I think
replacement
that's
tag.
too low.
No,
A
that could
dollar,
be.
what's it cost us to print it, mail it out? What's it cost?
Probably about that. I'd have to ask Tracy, our animal control clerk. She may know the answer to that.
Do we do
But
that or does Pet Data?
Pet Data would send them. However, they do sell replacement tags up there at the window.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Didn't know.
And tags in general. They sell tags in general at the window. There's 2 types of ways you can get tags, Pet Data
Okay.
or up here at the window.
I see. I didn't know if you came here, if somebody just basically filled out Pet Data and then they mailed the
No,
tag in
you
Texas.
can buy them right up here if you bring
Wow,
your rabies
okay.
certificate in. It's
So
current.
they stamp them and give them to you?
No, the tags are already done up. They're already made up.
Okay.
Yeah. Who picks the pattern every year?
I think Tracy has a hand in
Nice.
that. I think she may have, or Pet Data, one of the
Yeah.
two. Yeah.
It's always interesting. We get a new pattern tag every year and I have a whole bunch
Paw-
of them.
paw
Yeah,
print,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's right, yeah.
Yeah,
What
fire
time is it?
hydrant was
Yeah.
one year.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
that was fun.
That was fun.
So I don't
Yeah.
know if we're losing money, I guess is my question. Are we
For that
losing
dollar
money on 'em?
replacement tag, I can certainly ask that question and see if we are.
Would
It
you?
might be across the
How much
board
it
on that.
costs us to do it, yeah.
Right. But it wouldn't hurt to raise it to $2. Because $1 is nothing, really.
Yeah, I can't
Dollar is
imagine that's gonna be, my only concern with the fees is that it becomes prohibitive and people don't register, but $1 to $2, I can't imagine that's a significant impact.
How many do you get? And then I guess.
Yeah, do
are
people
there-
lose the tags a
yeah,
lot?
Are there 5 people that come in because they lost theirs, or 25 a year, or?
Probably maybe 15 to 20 a year, I would guess. Every
Well,
now and
then
then I'll
maybe
hear
it's-
somebody say, well, I lost my tag, how can I get a new one? And then I tell them how
most
to
people
do
just wait till
that.
the next year and register. 'cause they know
Sometimes,
they're
yeah,
gonna
it
get a new
depends on how
tag
close
anyway.
they are to the
Yeah.
renewal period.
So, how far in advance can you renew?
They let you renew anytime you want,
Okay.
but then they change the month on you. Like if you were a January tag and you want to register in November,
Okay.
then they would give you a November tag.
And you'd still have to pay the same $8 fee?
Same $8,
Okay,
yeah.
so you'd lose money then if you did that.
If you'd lose money.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying
Okay.
to tell people,
Yeah.
just wait until your renewal time.
Okay.
But some people want to pay early just to get it over with. so
Sure.
They don't
Well,
have to worry
I'm
about
thinking,
it.
the only time I think about registering my dog for the city is when I go take her to the vet and get her,
Yeah.
checked out for the year. Well,
Yeah.
right then and there is when I should probably be doing it, but it moves around a
Mm-hmm.
lot, so. Okay. Is there a harm in allowing somebody like a 45-day window in advance to pre-register or something like that? I know you can do that with your car tags to some degree.
Well, they
just-
send out renewal notices. Pet
They
Data
do.
does.
I'm just
Uh-huh.
wondering, if you have to wait until the day you registered on or after to
Mm-hmm.
renew, I'm wondering if it would be helpful to put some sort of lead time in there.
Why?
To renew,
Yeah.
they have 30 days after
do
the
they?
expiration
Well,
date.
I'm thinking in advance. Can you renew in advance without a penalty? Because right now,
Oh,
if you renew
yes.
in advance,
Yes,
you
you're
do
not
get a
penalized
penalty.
for renewing in advance.
But it moves your date, though.
You lose your month, yes,
Right.
that, yes.
So you're saying,
I'm saying
Let 'em
allow
pay
them
it,
to
but
register
don't move their
a
month.
certain period of time in advance, but don't change the date.
Don't change the
Yeah.
month.
Why would you do that?
Well, that way people can take care of it early without losing any money. I mean, again, this is a tiny amount of money we're talking about, but I'm trying to remove excuses for not doing it. Oh, I can't do it now because I have to wait until the day it expires or after, because otherwise I'll lose money. However small amount that may be. If we remove excuses and have people, I mean, the goal is to get pets registered. It's not about the money. Yes, we need to cover the cost of the program, but it's about the city knowing what kind of animals and how many are out there and that sort of thing.
Right.
So I feel like whatever we can do to remove barriers within reason to get people to use the program, we should. So
We'd have
I'd love to have a way
write
for
something on that,
vets
wouldn't we?
to sell a registration. Go get your dog checked out. The vet
If you decide
takes
to
the
remove
cash
it,
and sends in a thing, a registration card for you.
computer system.
So.
You
Not
wouldn't
change
want the
the
cost
date?
taken
Well, that's
after the
true.
vet.
Yeah.
Well,
Just take-
and
not
that's
change
true,
the-
but there's some people that are just never gonna register their pets in the city, no matter how easy or how stringent the laws are, they just won't do it. And there's other people that might, if it was easy, that was a big discussion about doing it online.
The online, yeah.
Yeah, would people register their pets better if they could do it electronically as opposed to mail in a paper check? I don't even know how to write checks, so.
What percent do you think are registered and what percent are not?
Oh, my. There's more people that don't register their dogs than do. Out of 100%, probably between 25 and 50%.
Do what?
You might think
Aren't
that-
registered?
that are registered, yes. And I can
Have.
get statistics on that for you if you wish,
I was just wondering.
concrete statistics.
It'd be interesting to know, but only if there's really something we can do about it.
Well,
You know, again, it
if you
goes
know
back to.
that, why aren't they all registered?
Why aren't all animals registered?
Yeah,
That's-
because if you
yeah.
know the ones that aren't,
Well, people have to take their animals to a vet to get a rabies shot, and they don't want to do that. And that's why they don't buy a city license a lot of the times, because there's too many steps to have to go through. And the expense, taking it to the vet, they see dollar signs, they're not going to do it. So we give them a ticket for no city license, and then we tell them, now get your license and take this to court and see, what they can do for you on the fee. And that gets them to do it most of the time, but sometimes it takes a ticket to get them to get their city tag.
well, that's okay.
And
If you're
people,
supposed to-
I always hear people say they don't have the money.
Do
to
we still
buy the
have,
tag.
I know we give sometimes free and discounted spay and neuter. Is there free or discounted rabies shots that are given?
There's a tag day every year at the shelter where they give like $5 rabies shots. And also, if they're in what they call a poverty level, they can go to a certain vet and get reduced fees.
Just on that
There's-
day or all the time?
Well, there's a tag day at the shelter on just one day in April.
Right.
But if you call a spay and neuter project, you could probably get a reduced amount. Depends on your income level.
Need to push that.
But a rabies shot typically is like $20. And it depends on if the vet charges an exam fee for that on top of that, which
Yeah.
is about another $40.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're already an established client, usually you can just go in there and they'll give the rabies shot for $20.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people go to Dr. Post because he's the cheapest down here at 6 McVicker.
Okay, and then on line 646 is all that kennel stuff again. Do we need that in there?
I think that's why I was wondering if we needed to keep kennel in there. What do you think
No
about that?
person shall use any dog, cat, management, or- Can't, yeah, we don't need, I see what she's saying.
Yeah.
You can actually
Take that
scratch
out.
that, yeah.
And just,
Because we don't regulate that.
just then make A just a standalone.
Dog, cat, min pen, can't use a tag for any other purpose, any other animal.
So 6.15.100 would just be a permit
B.
shall be valid only in the permit year for which it's issued. A new permit shall be obtained for each permit year and a new permit fee paid, period. Right, you have to just. Or, okay, leave in the rest then. That's
Yes.
what you're saying. Oh,
Yes.
Gotcha, all right, that's, sorry. Working along.
Does that make sense?
Yep,
Yes, it does,
got
ma'am,
it.
Okay.
thank you.
And my last question, and Lisa and I kind of emailed about this morning, is the nuisance. Because on line 821, it's unlawful for an owner of an unaltered male or unspayed female cat to keep such cat in such a manner as to cause a nuisance by attracting other cats.
Confinement.
And then I'm thinking about the crows in town that is a nuisance because they crow. Does our nuisance ordinance, is that about those two items?
No, ma'am, this ordinance here in confinement of certain animals required, nuisance would basically mean the cat with sterilization, if he's not sterilized.
What do you, define nuisance?
If she's attracting males, or if the males are spraying and being a nuisance in that way to the people. But that's what that's saying.
Because then what about barking dogs? Are they a nuisance? The crows, the roosters, are they a nuisance?
Right, it's just like what defines nuisance, we really have to
Right,
define
what's our
nuisance.
ordinance?
Right. Well, Councilmember Claire, I actually talked with Luther Gagne about that because I said, what is the deal with this UPOC and the nuisance provision? He goes, we never cite using that provision because it's way too vague. What we do, because he used to be the prosecutor here, so he said what we would do is, like what you just said, go to that particular provision where it references nuisance, and we cite on that specific instance, those types of issues, as a nuisance in these surrounding type of issues. So if it's a barking dog, they would go and say, is this a nuisance to like a reasonable person? He says they never use the UPOC definition
Really?
because it's way too ambiguous, too vague. And the only place that I could find when you were asking the question where it actually referenced it was just a couple of places, and one was livestock as a nuisance, and one was under the sanitary requirements that we had talked about adding, and then we talked about what does that mean? What is stinky to one person isn't stinky to another person, and
So if I came forward saying the crow next door is a nuisance, the rooster next door crowing is a nuisance to me, I could use, which,
you could use UPOC, I think, that
Okay.
provision that's in there. I
Okay.
think you could.
I think that would actually fall under noise disturbance if she wanted to sign a complaint. If the crowing bothered you and you couldn't sleep, you could call a police officer and they could file a noise complaint against the
Yes,
owner.
let's see what he said.
Now, animal control could make sure that the rooster was kept in a pen and not running at large and over 50 feet away from a dwelling other than their own.
but it could still,
We wouldn't be able to write the ticket for the crowing, though. So we would have to tell those folks to call a
because
police
some
officer.
cities have it in their ordinance, what a nuisance is to the animals. And that's what I asked like at the second meeting.
Yeah.
But Councilmember Claire, I think in what you were saying, Lisa, I think that would apply, I mean, not just to barking dogs, but to a rooster that was crowing next door too loudly. Couldn't you just, invoke the noise ordinance as being a nuisance? Because,
But
you
a
know,
police officer would have to do that. Animal
Right,
control wouldn't
right.
be charged with that.
but it's possible.
Yes.
Okay,
It's possible.
that was all my questions.
Excellent. Any questions from you, Councilwoman Ortiz? So, now, essentially, the next step to decide then is do we want to try and push the potbelly pig changes we have? We need to, we do need to have a motion to adopt the changes recommended by the vet, if that's what we want to do, and then the ones you brought up.
Well, except we're still waiting on information. If we're gonna do the whole ordinance, or you're just gonna
Well,
break
so
it down
that's
to the
essentially where I'm
pig?
going was, so,
Okay.
you know, we've got basically
So the phase-
almost everything ready to go with all of it, it sounds like, so, my preference would be, let's do all of the stuff at once at the council level, so we don't waste more time, but, so we would adopt the changes that you've recommended today, or have a motion to do that, adopt those changes, get the rest of the information, meet one more time to make sure we have all of our ducks in a row with everything, approve it there, and then take the completed product back to council once we're done with the budget.
So basically, the unanswered questions then, committee members, is you would like input on
Sanitation,
sanitation
Yeah.
thing, the dead animals, but what was the second, the online application
Yeah,
process
and how
for
that would handle
fees?
different breeds. And actually, you should ask, well, we're only gonna request that people register pigs, dogs, and cats, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Then the actual cost for tag replacement, I think that was one I had down.
To make sure we're covering our fees there. And did we ever figure out what the maximum number of animals we think we want to allow people to have is?
I
You
don't-
know?
We weren't
We
going
did
to
not.
Okay.
say.
We did
We
not
just feel
address
like
that.
that we
Leave it.
can use the animal cruelty. 'Cause,
Yes.
again, the goal is not to limit the number of pets somebody has if they're taking care of them and they're
Right.
registered and that sort of thing.
Right.
Right.
Okay, I'm comfortable with that then.
So then what you'd like us to do is incorporate some of the things that the vet suggested into the miniature pig piece. And then Lisa can get some additional information. I think I owe information on what the judge and prosecutor would be okay with as far as holding
Yeah,
a dog
they're
at the Humane
releasing.
Society. So I'll see what I can come up with there. And then are the other changes okay in the comparison doc? I'm gonna incorporate these new little items and
Well,
put
so
them in here.
that would be the motion to accept those changes essentially.
okay, we've
and
talked
then-
about the kennel
Okay.
and,
Then we'll just talk about it at the next meeting.
And so then we'd have the last of our questions answered, and then we would vote it out of the committee if it's accepted. Then that would give time to push it out to the public for general comments. If there are concerns to the public, we could pull it back in here and tweak it if necessary, or we could just hear it at the council level and then see what everybody says there for the updates to the whole animal control ordinance.
Okay.
I would like, I know Sandra had a lot of corrections or things that she wanted. If you could break each one of those down and say what that means, what her recommendation was. So, because I know we've talked about approving or disapproving them all together. And I want to make sure that I want to approve each and every one, because if there's one in there that I don't approve of, then I'm not going to approve any of it.
Okay.
So if we could do that, and get that, as well as, the information that we've requested. I don't know if I missed anything. I know I was late from the veterinarian.
We just approved the minutes beforehand.
But if there was something that I missed, I'd like that as well.
Yeah, that's all we discussed, was approving the minutes, so. Okay, so in that case, we're not gonna have any motions to approve changes today. We'll get a full list of those, input from the other things, and then, Councilwoman Ortiz, do you wanna go through them line by line and approve the change requests?
Well, I want to see what they entail.
Okay.
I don't know, because I want to see what they entail.
Okay, well, and that's fine. I'm not opposed to doing it either way. Just let me know what you like. If we can approve everything as a block, I'm totally fine with that. If you'd like to run through them one
If
by
there's
one.
something in there that I don't approve.
Sure. Yeah, no,
might want to pull it.
Yeah, no,
I don't know.
I have no problem either way, so.
Councilmember Jensen, on
Yes, ma'am.
the animal control requested revisions, those are at the bottom of the June 8th memo. They go from bottom of page 1 to top of page 2. So I'm just going to add to that list just the bullet points
Okay.
that talk about some of the issues that Councilmember
Okay.
Claire raised, and just maybe add that as a separate little section.
Cool. So our
Okay.
goal for the next meeting then would be to review the full animal control ordinance, all of the changes that we would make to the entire ordinance, and then approve those, or not approve them, and then vote to submit a response to the council.
Okay.
Everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Excellent.
Got our working
Well,
hours.
is there any other matters before the committee we should consider? Excellent. Well, with that, we are adjourned. Thank you for your time, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Set another date?
We could. Sylvia, do you have your?